Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an X, where today we got ourselves a track from an act named Gestein titled Blutrote Kaskade. I apologize for the pronunciation. If we switch over to here, this is off of their EP titled Unaufhaltsam, which apparently is unstoppable if I'm not mistaken. Apparently, Blutrote Kaskade is it's blood red cascade, so it's sounding very metal. Should note this as well, this is the studio project of Manu, who's done a lot of the work in regard to this. Apparently they bring other musicians, instrumentalists involved, sort of help them bring their music to life as well, so that's cool. And it was mixed and mastered by Aljosha Sek. So we're going to listen through this track from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's do it, let's go. Oh, there's such menace to it, isn't there? Such a huge sound to those drums with those guitars and the bells. Such a satisfying response there with the bass.
Um Mitternacht bei frostiger Luft öffnet sich meine teuflische Kluft. Die Straßen leer, der Himmel schweigt, da scheinen sie zum Täten bereit. Orden streifen durch die Nacht, die Stille wird zur lauten Schlacht. Letzte noch Blut, die Augen zu mir, getrieben von Wut und unendlicher Gier. Feuer gefangen, die Hoffnung ist vergangen. In Asche begraben, vergessen, was wir haben. Töten ohne Gnade, eine blutrote Kaskade. Der Wahnsinn hat begonnen, das Leben mir genommen. Feuer gefangen, die Hoffnung ist vergangen. In Asche begraben, vergessen, was wir haben. Töten ohne Gnade, eine blutrote Kaskade. Der Wahnsinn hat begonnen, das Leben mir genommen. Das Herz ganz warm und leicht am Pochen. Die Niere zäh, die Hüfte kracht. Die Zähne tief ins Fleisch gebracht.
Ein infektiöses, postbiologisches Wesen, das nach seinem Tod durch ein unbekanntes neurodegeneratives Pathogen reaktiviert wurde. Trotz seines biologischen Verfalls zeigt das Objekt ein einheitliches, instinktgetriebenes Fressverhalten.
Sie reißen, kratzen, stürzen sich, mein Atem kurz, das Licht zerbricht, Schuss um Schuss, ich spüre ihr Blut, doch meine Glock spricht kalt und Gold. All die Wichser eiskalt ab, zerfallen zu Staub, direkt in ihr Grab, fressen Blei und spüren den Zorn. Ich bin ihr Albtraum mit Kimme und Korn. Feuer gefangen, die Hoffnung ist vergangen, in Asche begraben, vergessen, was wir haben. Töten ohne Gnade, eine blutrote Kaskade. Der Wahnsinn hat begonnen, das Leben mir genommen.
so much menace to that tone though, right? The synth sound nice.
Sie fressen sich durch Mark und Knochen. Das Herz ganz warm und leicht am Pochen. Die Niere zäh, die Hüfte kracht. Die Zähne tief ins Fleisch gebracht.
I mean, that was crazy heavy, dude. That was crazy heavy. It's just really cool that Manu was able to sort of map out all this stuff on keyboards. It's crazy, dude. Technology is amazing. We're going to talk about this track more in the conclusion. Because welcome to the conclusion, my review of this track from an act named Gestein, titled Blutrote Kaskade, off of the Un of Hotsam EP. In this section, we're going to be providing an overall an analysis of this track, of everything from lyrics and vocals all the way through to studio production, as well as any applicable constructive critique, and then finally, my general thoughts from a listener's perspective. But first of all, what do we think this track is about? If I'm honest with you, not being, able to understand German, I can only assume from the art there that we have over that way on the other side, as well as the name Blutrote Kaskade, that it's about war, it's about just devastation, not potentially not forgetting it, not forgetting it, how it affected people, the power and fear and death associated with it, people being murdered, etc. I would assume just from the title that's potentially what it's about. I would also note that I think that outside of not knowing what the track is about, just the vocal style being as gritty and visceral as it is kind of suggests a menace and depravity to it. I loved both the whispers that we had and some of the occasional more low-key bits, how kind of sinister they sounded, as well as just the very kind of visceral tone to a lot of the other vocals. It was a nice sort of fry and kind of tone and timbre that was a nice foil to a lot of the color that came through from a lot of the guitar components, which are incredibly, we'll talk about the guitars in a moment, they were fantastic, because basically everything within this track was quite well done. But just again, when you have a lot of color harmonically and melodically within a piece, you don't necessarily need to have too much going on melodically with the vocals. And to be fair, it worked just as well when we were doing the chugged power chords on the rhythm guitars, for sure, no question about that at all. It's just, we were well presented within the mix, we expressed ourselves in different ways, and ultimately it was, it was well presented. It's what you'd expect from the style of music, no complaints on that front, and they sounded very comfortable with both their vocal technique doing that style, as well as being on the microphone. The track itself, 4 minutes 48, is really well fleshed out with a variety of different bits structurally. You have different verses and choruses and solo sections and breakdowns, and sort of we go from half time to normal time or normal time to double time at one part there. There's just great use of that real estate there, and I never felt like there was any filler or that we were overplaying things, which is always a positive. From the moment that you start the track and you hear that really kind of scary sounding wind kind of build out of it, you're kind of like, wow, what have we gotten ourselves into? And then we have that lead guitar coming with the vibrato on it, that just the intensity with the drums, the distortion, etc. is incredibly, it's admirable to just go straight into it like that and not hesitate. I think we might be working with a flat 5, boom, 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 going for a sort of a tritonal choice there with the melody on the lead was also cool. It instantly elicits a sense of menace to it. And as we kind of build through that first part, we add the chugged rhythm sort of distorted guitars, which are double tracked neatly on the sides there. They sound thick and full. You've got the snares on the drum kit that are nicely compressed and well presented there. There's a nice sizzle to those as well, kind of sounding like gunshots. But then we kind of do this interesting thing where it almost seems like we're coming in and out of tunnels, where you have this filtered guitar and it goes backwards and forwards there in one way or the other, and it's just very interesting to hear stuff presented with a sense of mixing dimensionality to it, it's purposeful. And, with that filtered guitar there, it gets quieter in regards to the other things, but you're following along to it and the music grows around you, and now it's just really this immense sense of atmosphere to it. We build at the start, we come down a little bit. We know we haven't had vocals yet, so we need to adjust things instrumentally, and so we do so until the mic comes in. And like throughout this track, throughout the various sort of like vocal verses stuff that interact afterwards, you have these fantastic double kick patterns. They're very comfortable across the entire kit on the drum kit there. It's just nice to have these tom transfers, which are quite seamless there. But we also kind of sound like we're pocketing on the kit at the same time, like we could do a lot more than we're doing. And I kind of appreciate the fact that it's just as much about the groove as the chug. There's moments where we're kind of more still and other times where we kind of belt forward, and it's just sick. You know, we have other sort of more chill elements outside of the guitar and drums come in, you know, like such as the keys around the 150 mark, if not sooner. And there are a nice sort of like mid-range bit of color there that articulates some of the existing sort of like chords and triads that we have in a different way. And that comes in, I think, with the whispering part, which makes things a little bit more low key and makes it more distinct. But we don't stay too light for too long, and especially kind of ASMR-ish effect of those whispered vocals, it's not comfortable. And as we get those really kind of feisty synthesizers coming around the 2-minute 15 mark playing arpeggios, there's just this fire to it. This sense of we're going into something even bigger than what we've already had, like we're building into something. And then the bass guitar as well is a fantastic sort of like support element, but it also has its time to shine in terms of playing little kind of melodies, exploring the fretboard in certain parts as well. It's not stagnant. Nothing within this track is stagnant. There is constant movement and moments to appreciate the instrumentality, musicality of different people involved with recording these parts. They clearly know what they're doing, and they know when to kind of fall in line and when to sort of branch out a little bit. Like, for example, that guitar solo that we have around the 2-minute 25 mark or so is just so kind of like grandiose for what small form factor it has there. There is some shred, there's some legato techniques, some interesting vibratos and bends there, and a lot of fun ideas there, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's very kind of quick to kind of go, hey, I've had my time in the sun. We're back to more kind of context. And it's just another kind of separation device. But it sounds purposeful at the same time. It sounds distinct from the previous parts because it is more technically, like, more impressive, but it still kind of plays in a similar way to a lot of what's presented beforehand. Like in terms of not trying to overshadow the teamwork that's trying to be attempted here. Even in little parts, we have the dun, 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 that synth line around like the 3-minute mark or so, which does return in that kind of outro part at the end there, which is just a nice callback. There's parts that kind of come back and come forward and that you're reintroduced to as you go through the piece there. It's very mindful. It's just cool to sort of have a bit of foreshadowing, I suppose. Like in that part around the 4-minute 15 mark where there's that wind, but that wind is actually a riser and you have the bass thick and heavy and the low and with the occasional bits there. And it's so, it just doesn't let up. And as you have the demonic kind of cackling at the end of the piece there, after the mixture of different single and double kick elements on the drums with the interesting note choices, both diatonic and chromatic on those guitar parts, not just doing chugs, but playing little melodies as well, and like the tails of them to adjust. It's just, yeah, it's sensational. There's no filler. I just feel like whether it's the use of the risers or effects chains or sort of like noise instruments, whether it's the keys that we have, whether it's the guitar, various guitar layers, bass, or drums, filtered and non-filtered, etc., we nail it. I don't understand what the track is about, but I can imagine from the music involved, and it's clearly not in a happy place, but like, you know, thematically, outside of just a really competent instrumental performance and vocal performance across the board where things seem well connected, you're clearly in the minor. But those use again of tritones, those use of maybe Phrygians and stuff like that, flat seconds as well, elicits a sense of menace and dread and danger that I think makes sense when you consider Blutrote Kaskade or Unstoppable with the tank on the cover. It's all very well connected, easy to follow along to, and so again, I don't think the language barrier is an issue here. Even if it was, like, it's just great music. It's communicating so much without a word needing to be said. It's just that the words are the icing on the cake. We don't go into extensions because we don't need to. It's just heavy and filthy. It's awesome. The studio recording, mixing and mastering, though, with that said, is in clean. It's pristine. Like, I love the way that the vocals are presented there, both the growls and the whispers and stuff. The various guitar layers, both filtered and non-filtered, the drums, bass, keys, rises, etc., are nicely positioned within the stereo field. Music surrounds you in the headphones there. Again, side tracking, double tracking the guitar is fantastic, but also there's no resonant frequencies in this frequency spectrum. I mean, if there are, they're deliberate, so they're not like kind of off-putting. But yeah, no, just solid vocal recording as well. They just needed to EQ and compress and add a bit of reverb and stuff occasionally on parts, but like it was atmospheric as they needed it to. And it was nice how things came forward in the mix and came back through, I think, volume automation as well as some potential panning automation as well. It's just playing with, again, a sense of depth within the mix itself. Studio recording, mixing, mastering in general was great. Nice and loud, very loud. Bass compression limiting was handled, a bit of pumping. No issues with that whatsoever, makes it heavy. No applicable constructive critique for me, just a really interesting time with Gestein with this track, Blutrote Kaskade. In terms of final overall thoughts from a listener's perspective, I think I would be happy to listen through the rest of the EP. This sounds commercial grade to me. I think that if they continue to make music like this, they've got a bright future ahead. It just depends, I suppose, on how the rest of the EP went, but we're off to a great start. So thank you very much for watching my review of this track from an act named Gestein, titled Blutrote Kaskade, off of the Haltsam EP. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go show them some love via the various social medias, and I'm sure this will be on the digital stream platforms at some point. Stay cool and stay safe. Please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I will catch you in the next SB Reacts. Spiderhands out.